Happy Friday. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. For us here in New Jersey, it is Friday. It's around 11:30, and I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that I'm able to, come here live to you. And if you're finding me for the first time, please like my page, share this video. And my name is Penny. What I do, I invite you to my personal space. That's all I do, to hope that I can encourage you, to hope that I can inspire you, so you can listen and learn one or two things by the time you're done listening to me. I always say a mentor needs a mentor, a coach needs a coach, a therapist needs a therapist, a doctor needs a doctor, a nurse needs a nurse. A nurse cannot draw their own blood. So I come here to just tell you, let me pin this. Thanks, Paris. I just come here to tell you that you're not alone. Whatever you're going through, we are all going through the same things. Every dog has its day. And when it's your day, it's your day. I used to do a wellness program at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday, but I've not been able to because I have a lot of challenges in my personal life with my mom, who's not well, and I've had all my children home for the summer and they're getting ready to go to school, and then there's the chicken, then there's the garden, there's a lot of things going on. So I've not been able to do the wellness talk on Friday, and the other show that I've been doing, for which we were doing the money, I've not done the money talk for going to 12 days because I have a lot of things going on. So anyway, happy Friday wherever you are, and when you come in, please share this video so we can encourage one another. Everybody is going through something. Betty, how are you? Enid, how are you? And I just wanted to bring you into my space. I've been up since I got up at around 6:30. And, I lounged in the bed a little bit. I dropped my daughter at work. And then I came back. Today, my day was scheduled to declutter my room. My room looks nice. I'm not able to give you, like a review. But since I started at 8, going to 11, I have been decluttering. Just throwing away things that I don't need. And today, my goal was just for the bedroom. Just to make sure, I remove all those things I think I'm ever going to use. Take out the old clothes. Like, I have t-shirts like this. This is a new t-shirt, by the way. It's a Masase. A Masase is a name we use in Ekewusi, means sunshine. Women who bring light to the world. That's why this t-shirt is like that. This is from the organization that we run. And so my goal today was to clean that bedroom, then move slowly from the bedroom and thoroughly scrub my bathroom, which the kids usually do that. But my job is to, make sure that I've really got it well. And in the process, by the way, I don't know if you guys enjoy listening to podcasts. In the process, I listen to podcasts. As I was cleaning, I was writing things that, I just want to remember. I've listened to probably 2 hours straight of podcasts. I had about communities. I had about creating friendships. I had about libraries, how you can create special relationships with the people where you live. I had about where this guy was talking about the mistake you made. You're not the mistake. Don't think you're a mistake. The mistake you made that has put you where you are should not be you. You are a different person with your mistake. And then I also had about apologizing. In fact, let me even share the notes. I have them here. Yeah. And they also talked about guilt, why people are guilt. People live with guilt and shame because people tell lies. When you lie, you're ashamed. You're lying to me. So after you leave, you have to live with the guilt of lying, okay? And then some people are guilty for not spending time with their families. That, for me, I got it early. I'm able to spend time with my family, and that's why I started my business, so I'm present. My children are actually waking up, which is okay with me, but they have responsibilities. Okay, we have guilt of mischief. Some of you come on Facebook, on social media, you dance naked, or you abuse people, or you came to my page and you abused me. After you abused me on social media, after you said something to me, when you leave, remember you're the one who said it. And for me, who was said to hurtful things, how it's not what was said to me, it's how I'm going to take what was said to me. Yeah, when I started the group Amasase a couple years ago, it was a group, a women's kissing group, and those women were bullying me out of the group for whatever reason. I wasn't like, I didn't foresee that coming, but it came. They bullied me through. They just wanted to bully me, but it didn't work because they didn't know who I was, and they didn't really matter to me. You know, I just, you know, discarded their rubbish, and the rest is history. They didn't stop me. If anything, they made me to want more, because I was like, oh, for them to really make me a point of discussion, then I must have a gift. So I moved from the group and I started this page that you see me talking from. And this page has come to change my life in a way that I never thought. I did not come out of the group. We use paid admins to run the group. There's somebody running those groups. They are there. They can advertise their things. But I left that community, the community that was belittling me. They were like making me think that I was a useless person. They didn't know that I had a very good foundation. By the time I came to Facebook to put myself on Facebook, I was already like in a good space. I've always been in a good space because I grew up in a home that I had a strong father that believed in himself, and I see my father in me. Oh, you bought the water? So anyway, so what the guy was saying, that when people do those things to you, some of them, they do that with intent to finish you. But and anyway, why would I allow strangers on social media that I didn't know? Remember, I don't know all these people. None of them that I really knew personally. The people that I knew personally have always spoken to me. We've always maintained the relationships. The other people were just total strangers on a keyboard. But anyway, through that, this page was born, and this page, right now we're at 100,000. That group is at probably 50,000. You know, I do a video here, then I'll share it. But I'd like those ladies to know that that's what they did to me. It's not what they did to me, it's what I did after they did what they did to me. So the guilt of mischief, they said that. Okay? And then the other guilt, they said that people feel guilt and shame is not being able to provide. When you're not able to feed your kids, when you're not able to feed yourself, when you're not able to pay rent, people feel ashamed and guilty. Like I have a message somebody wrote to me this morning for me to buy them food tonight. But I was really thinking on long term, if I buy them food today, what's going to happen after today? I don't know. Because you really have to try hard, to work hard, to remove yourself from asking for regular food, because regular food, day-to-day food, there's nobody who can go to work, or I sell the waste beads, I do the chicken, I do the eggs, and then I take the money and give you. Like, yes, it doesn't work like that. When you work and you earn, that money is for you to pay for your house. If you have children, which you choose to have children, some of you just have children, you're not thinking how you're going to feed these kids. So don't have kids and then go to people who are working hard to feed their kids and tell them, you sell the eggs, you sell the vegetables, you sell this, and then give me the money to feed the children. Before you have those children, be careful how because children are made through sex. You don't just swallow, children are not produced through drinking. You make children through having sex, and some of you intentionally have sex. If you are raped, is a different story, and you decide you're not having an abortion, you keep the child. That is different. We understand. But intentionally having sex, removing your clothes, and laying down, going through the whole process, knowing you don't have birth control, knowing you don't have a condom, then you make children, and now you want other people to feed your children. It is so unreal. Have children that you can afford. So this guy was saying, we feel ashamed and we feel guilty when we are not able to provide even for our, our own parents, You're feeling bad that your parent is sick and you're not able to take them to the hospital. You feel bad that your parents don't have food, even you don't have. But again, poor parents, poor mind. It's a mindset. If you're poor, your parents are poor, you're likely to be poor unless you get up and start following, people like the ones I'm following, or you are listening to me because I'm taking the message, I'm giving it to you. Then you can get yourself out of that situation of being poor. Okay? And then they also spoke about you've neglected someone and then they died. You did not take care of your parents. You did not take care of your brother. Somebody needed help. Somebody needed support. You neglected them. And then they died. Now you're feeling guilty and you're feeling ashamed. Okay? And then the other thing is you are ashamed that you are not successful. I'm here. I come here proudly to tell you I'm a success story. And this success story, I own the success story. Joy, how are you, mommy? I own my success story. When I say success story, I'm self-sufficient. I'm able to try and provide for my children. I can put food on the table. With or without my husband, I should be able to feed my children. Who gave me that courage? My father. It's your parents sometimes who give you the foundation. I didn't bring myself to America. My father brought me here. My father took me to school. I never lacked school fees. I had a hard-working father that woke up at 4. So some of you're so guilty, you're so embarrassed that you didn't make it in life. Ineke we say, abakagoli bawo n'ekindege bakoyendi, abakagoli bawo n'ekigali bakoyendi, abakagoli bawo bagajite kinyumba, abakagoli bawo bwatekeregentera kini ayitubo atikende gyonse. I'm going to translate. Your age mates have cars. Your age mates are flying. Your age mates have good homes. Your age mates have their landlords. Your age mates are living the life, and yet you have nothing. So you're going to feel guilty and ashamed because you failed. So failure can make you feel guilty, but don't. That's why we listen to these people. Divorce. Some of you feel, if you're divorced, some of you feel you think you're the cause of divorce. No, you're not the cause of your divorce. You just met the wrong person that you fell in love with and you're not on the same page. I'm not going to feel guilty for divorcing my husband who's annoying me. Who wants to be annoyed on planet Earth? No. And when I say degree of annoyance is a cause of divorce, if my husband is annoying me 80%, he needs to pack and leave, or I need to pack and leave. 80% is too much for me to lose out of my life. Especially selfish people like us who, my life revolves around me. So I'm not going to allow a husband to take 80% of my life and make me miserable. I'm only giving misery 20%. My husband is allowed 20% of my life to make me annoyed. 20 I can live with because I'm human, because I'm also giving him 20%. Given my personality, probably giving him 30. Because, I carry the children. I'm responsible for all this. So my stress level to my husband might be at 30%. Mine is at 20 because I'm running his home. I'm eating my vitamin C, I just remember. So, most women, we can stress our men. But you can't allow 80% is a big number. So anyway, and then the other ones are guilty and ashamed because of breakups. Or you broke up with someone. Who cares? They didn't want you because your personality is a mess. This morning I put up a post about friends who have low self-esteem. These friends are the most annoying friends. Every time they call you, they're calling you with the same rubbish. Every time, you can't correct them. They're always talking about their men. They're always talking about their women. They're just never happy. It is always everybody's fault. Such friends, you have to break up with them. If you're married to such a person who's always unhappy, you have to divorce them. So, they are saying, don't feel bad when a breakup happens. Let the people go. And then they talked about cheating. You cheat, you're caught. If you cheat, you're caught, you're guilty and you're ashamed. But my advice to you, be very calculative. If you're cheating, think through the cheating all the way. And guess what? If you're ready for the consequences, you won't feel guilty. And by the time you're cheating, you're tired. So, don't feel guilty. Know that you're doing it And when stuff gets out of hand, take responsibility. And then they also said some feel ashamed and guilty for not having time for their children. And he used a very good example. He used an example of a single mom or a single parent or a single dad who worked double shifts to put shelter, who worked double shifts to take the children to school. You single mothers who provide 100%. So you are never there. Once the children have grown, he put it like in a way, don't feel guilty, because you could have been present but homeless. You could have been present but hungry. You could have been present but no education. So you have to choose one or the other. You have to choose. If you are present, you are going to have nothing, but you are absent but you gave something. He said don't feel guilty about that. Okay? Some of you feel guilty and ashamed because you don't self-care. So for me, today is a self-care day. Some of you have neglected yourself so much. Maybe you gained so much weight, or maybe you are so sick, you are diabetic now, or you have high blood pressure. So you're guilty. And that's why I want to talk about Juice Plus as a matter of fact. Where is the things? Where? You took them. My smoothies arrived, right? So for me, all the years I've been in America, I've been very much conscious of my food. So my smoothies, I spend $80 on Juice Plus, 82 or something a month, right? This just came. These are supplements, right? $80, and I get vegetables, I get fruits, and I get berries. In fact, I need to get the other one, which is the omegas. And then there's the berry. $80. $80 of my earned cash that I earn goes to Juice Plus. $80. In fact, you need to call me and let's talk about this Juice Plus. Some of you have plots, but you don't take care of yourself, right? You need to invest in your health and wellness. So they talked about, where is the book? Neglect, where you are not taking time to make your food. And that's the thing I'm going to finish with, because I'm getting ready to cook my food, because my husband is coming home late. I'm going to make him managu, that chicken from the village, and then with ugali. Okay? So they are saying that you neglected yourself. So take care of yourself. And then they said, when you're too guilty, you block your growth. That's why some of you are still failing. That's why some of you are still poor. That's why you're not able to provide for yourself. Okay? So accept your past mistakes. All right? Because the guilt and the shame is going to make you not progress. Had I been ashamed, I don't even know what those women in that group were trying to shame me, or they were trying to abuse me. Had I been ashamed, I could have just been there like, oh, they've abused me. No, no, no. I did not want them to slow my progress. I found a better space where I could thrive. And I'm thriving here. And now I have followers who subscribe. I have followers who share my videos. I have followers who are not kissy. And they are very, very supportive. Hey, they did me good. Okay? And then they said, if you have a past mistake with someone and you're guilty and you're feeling bad about this mistake, if that person is still living, go reconcile. They said reconciliation is the key to success. When you've wronged someone and you know and it's bothering you, you're the one who's carrying that burden. So learn to reconcile. Okay? After repentance, after you've reconciled with me, you've apologized to me, Penny, I'm so sorry I abused you on social media. When you come back to these people again, they are saying that change your behavior, because you don't want guilt to turn into shame, because guilt turns into shame, because now you're embarrassed because you've already abused me. Change your behavior. You see, I was listening to that podcast, and in the process, as I'm cleaning and decluttering, I make my shopping list. So I have my shopping list. Today is the day for me to do food shopping for the family. And I'm going to bring you close to my space. Now you're closer to my space. I'm about to make managu, and let me show you. The managu is here. The managu is mixed with emboga. Okay, this is linawu. And then there is the raw chicken, kienyeji kabisa. Right, it has still a mondo there. And then I have the eggs there. I'm going to wash the eggs. If you're in New Jersey, come get the eggs. I have the crates there. I'm going to put it. I have the avocado there. And let's go outside. You guys see the current situation for enderema. So I'm going to add some of it. Enderema is still doing very good. The sun is bright, see? So I'm just going to pick a few leaves. If you've never tried this and you're in America, you need to try this. I have seeds. The seeds are here. The sun is too bright. The seeds are here. I will send you seeds now. And you are going to pay for them. Don't just ask me for seeds for nothing. Pay for these seeds. Send me $10 for seeds. I sell them like Amazon. And then, because that's how I'm going to get my money. I can't just grow seeds for you for nothing. And then you see how many I have? I have a lot. And you start your own nursery. You'll buy soil from Walmart or wherever you buy your soil and plant it in pots. See? Buy the big pots. Those people in America. Yeah, see, it's doing amazing. So, that's how my Friday looks like. I just wanted to bring you guys into my Friday space. If you want enderema and you're in America, $10 for these seeds, they cost money. $10 for the seeds. I'll give you 10 seeds. You don't need many. I'm going to give you 10 seeds. One seed is going to cost you $1. And don't argue with me. That's if you want it. And then you pay $5 for shipping. And when I'm going to give you those 10 seeds, I'll give you 2 extra. If I'm kind, depending on how you talk to me, I'll give you 13 seeds. Because I'm already making the seeds. This is how I make the seeds. There. I'm already preparing the seeds for next year. So, 10 seeds, $10. I'll add you a kidogo. One thing I forgot to tell you, when you order your Juice Plus for $80, you get supplements or chewables for your children. Your children get fruits and vegetables in that package. So you're not only taking care of yourself, you're also taking care of your children. So hit me up and get started. And for those of you who've never heard me say it, let me tell you, your life is in your hands. Your life is in your own hands. There is nobody in this world who will make your life easy for you except you. I have a very good memory of my childhood, and I love my childhood stories. And I'm always so grateful that I lived long enough to even talk about these things so my grandchildren can know these stories. I was around 10 or 11 years old when I finally realized my father was being shared by 3 women. I was shocked. It didn't make sense. Not at all. And why it didn't make sense? Because around the area, there was no polygamists that I knew. My neighbors in the area each had 1 wife. But my father had 3 women. 2 were in Nyando Chevere, 1 was in Kisii town. That never made sense. I moved to go to Kisi Primary School when I was probably 9 years old in class 4. I went to live with my stepmother. Left my mom in Yando Chivere and changed schools. Because once you got to class 4, our father removed their children from their mothers who were left behind from the second and third wife, who was my mother and my second stepmom. Their children were taken from them and they were brought into this environment, Kisi town, so they could go to school. But my youngest stepmother was the one who lived here with her children. Her children never came to the village to pick tea or go to the garden. Something that hurt me so deeply. When I think about it, I feel like it just happened again. I didn't understand why those children were in town doing nothing. Eating good food, they were eating chicken, fish, beef. They were eating a good meals. While we, the kids who are the same age, were in the village. Literally eating, like my mom used to make. I didn't like my mom's food. She just used to just boil and throw. She didn't care. I came later to learn that my mom was severely depressed and she couldn't do much. Yeah? I remember those stories. And I was there for 2 years. I think I was there in class 4, 5. And when I was going to class 6, the hype for the boarding school came. And I liked the life in that house. That house, they ate well. And those children did not cook. My step half-sisters and brothers did not cook. My aunties, my stepmom's cousins or relatives who lived there cooked. Those kids did not cook. And when I came there, I was quickly given chores. My stepmom used to give me chores because I was troublesome. For some reason, I was always in trouble. I don't know if I didn't really ask my father when he was in the right mind. That was I the reason they took us to boarding school, because all the other kids stayed through. But when I came, I guess the 2 years I was there, my stepmom could not tolerate. I was just too much. I guess I was hyperactive. In fact, I have injuries. I was just in everything, literally in everything. So they probably figured that, you know what, we can't put up with these kids. I wish my father, I wish I asked him why they decided to take the last set of his children to boarding school. So out of his 21 children, the last set was, how many of us? Zippy, me, Cecilia, Hilda. 4 of us were just taken to boarding school at a very young age. And my sister Cecilia was very young, which was like trauma, because you're taking a little girl, you took her from her mom, you brought her to Kisi town to a stepmom, then now you're taking her to boarding school. Trauma, pure trauma. And people don't want to even admit to such things. So anyway, so I go to boarding school, and let me tell you the most painful thing. As much as I was happy I went to boarding school, the food in boarding school was not good compared to the food I just left. In this house that I left, my stepmother's house, there was chapati. A delicacy. Which, it's the reason I still can't cook chapati, because my mom didn't cook chapati. She didn't even learn how to make chapati. So it wasn't a thing. These are chapati. I don't make them. I buy them from the Indian store because I can't make chapati. I never learned how to cook anyway. So, but I like to eat. So, I was very unhappy that I was taken from eating good. As much as I was really enjoying boarding school and I was thriving, I missed the food in that house. The food was delicious. Then I was in that boarding school, class 6, 7, and 8, around the primary boarding school. And I spiritually grew in that school. So out of all that was happening, it is the school that gave me the foundation that made me who I am today. In fact, I get emotional, but I have to stay strong to tell you my story. It is that school that told me that things can be better. Your father had 4 wives. That was not Christ's intention. It is in that school that I learned the difference between culture and tradition and religion. My dad, it's the school that I learned my dad did not commit a crime. It is the school that I learned that my stepmom living there and getting that life was not something she asked for. It's something she was given and she took it. It was not because of her that happened. The husband culturally would take the youngest wife and live with youngest wife with her children, while the other children are in the village living the worst life. And it was normal. And in that sitting, you're drinking tea without sugar. You're drinking porridge without sugar. You're like let me tell you, you've not seen struggle. And you know what struggle is because you've seen the other side. It's like going from a good marriage to a bad marriage, or bad marriage. It's like going to the other side. Right? So I knew the life they were living. And that really deeply hurt me. And Mr. Kumenda, who was like the main teacher there in that school, motivated me because he was a student to my oldest brother at the university, and he kept telling me, you're going to succeed like your brother. So I needed to work extra. He would push. He pushed me. He said, you need to Penina, you actually used to call me Ongwenyi. Ongwenyi, you have to do better than your brother. Your brother is a professor. You can't be here failing. In fact, just to even go back, Nyando Chebere, I went from Nyando Chebere, which was nursery, class 1, class 2, class 3. All that time, I didn't know how to speak English. So I learned English in class 4 in Kisi Primary. Hardest thing to do. So even now, when you see me writing posts in English, I'm trying because I only think in Ekeusi. Then I have to find an English word and insert it. It's not easy. Ask people who've gone to other countries and learned the language. So anyway, so now, Mr. Kumenda, Mrs. Nyauncho, those teachers, Mala Kombuki, those teachers, they saw potential in me and they kept telling me I can do better. They pushed me, and now is where I learned to, because now I had learned a little English from Kisi Primary, is where I learned now to strive for excellence. The line, striving for excellence, was picked in that primary boarding school. And the other thing they did, they put me in leadership. Now I was a monitor. Then they called them a monitor. And then they put me as a prefect. By the time I finished class 8, I was the head girl of the school. But what they did also, once you're in leadership, you worked with the teachers. It's so sad that I've never had a chance to even meet any of my teachers from Eronge because life has been so busy. I got my green card to come to America when I was so overwhelmed with life. And I'm sorry that I hear that some of them have died, because those teachers gave me that foundation that makes who I am today. So they put me in leadership, and I learned how to solve problems at a young age in that school. And then I proceeded to Sironga Girls High School, you know, where I did I did pass. I'm so grateful that they pushed me. And, you know, I was able to pass to make it to a good school. I didn't need to be looked for a Harambe school. Back then, that's what they used to say. If you don't make it, they have to find you a local school where you walk to school. I didn't want to walk to school, but I worked hard. I made it to that school. Shortly after, when I got to that school, there was another teacher that mentored me through success for me to even survive that high school and continue with my life. The late Mrs. Mumanyi, the headmistress to Sironga Girls. She became a friend. She wasn't even a teacher. She was a friend. We worked together, and she gave me the courage. She gave me that foundation any leader can be given to just get started. A foundation that is not going to be shaken. She involved me in almost everything. She involved me in decision making. That lady, she died too young. I wish she lived long. So, I'm telling you all this to tell you that each one of us has a story. And your story is a story that you will look back and tell somebody. You see, I still have a very good memory to tell this story as it's coming. And once I finished high school, my goal was to leave my parents' home. I did not want to be there. The injustice, the visible injustice that was there with my step or half sisters, they call them half brothers. These children living in town while I'm there suffering, according to me as a child. It was not their own doing. I don't blame them. It is not their mother's doing. I don't blame her. It is not even dad's mistake, because that's what culture dictated. I can't, because again, I want to fast forward. When I turned 18, I got my ID. In Kenya they call it kipande, and I left the home. That's the day I left that home. The guy, his name was Philip. Philip is the one that used to give IDs, and getting an ID was very hard back then. So we were tamaking for the ID. You go there, they tell you come tomorrow. I was actually tamaking. So I kept going back, and then one day he told me, on such and such a day, your ID will come. But in the process, I want you guys to know, I had a bag. I had packed everything that I needed to live with. Okay? Things that I needed to go with. As I left that home, I literally wanted to leave that home. 2, my suitcase, my box from school. I packed all the things. My school uniform, my head girl gear. I had different uniforms in high school, which could have fit me today had my mother not interfered with my suitcase. I packed everything that needed to stay in a suitcase, and I put a padlock that I kept for so long until I was told that that box was opened and things were just thrown everywhere. I had that padlock with me when I came to America. I mean the key. Sorry. Everything that was mine, I put it in a box. My mother opened that box apparently to give away whatever needed to be given away. She didn't know how I value my things. She gave away whatever she needed to give away. And I did not return to Kenya until 14 years later. And she followed me shortly after. She broke into that box and just like letters. Let me tell you what was in that part of the things that were there were letters written to me by my boyfriends, like high school boyfriends. I loved those letters. Those boys were praising me. But I'm a keeper. I wanted to keep those letters because I wanted to read them when I was older. But I didn't get a chance. Okay. So, I left. That day I left, I went to my mom's sister. When the ID came, I came back to the house. I packed that bag. I carried the bag. And I left to my mom's sister. A place that I'd wanted to be in such a long time, but was never allowed by my parents. Now I know why. Now I understand why. But we were the family that was never allowed to go anywhere. But back in the day, they used to poison children, apparently. They used to do things to children, so we didn't go. So anyway, I went to my mom's sister. And it is the place I stayed until the communication came, because my father had put a landline in Nyandochevere. It is the place I stayed until a phone call came to my mother in Nyandochevere that the I-20 had come. I needed to get ready so I can go to Nairobi, so I can, go process my paperwork. My uncle Ayubu, who I love so much, in fact, I've not called him, my favorite auntie and my favorite uncle, went to town, and as it was a tradition, they would stop by to visit my dad. They are the ones who notified my dad that I was with my auntie. So in that process is when they communicated that the I-20 had come, and I needed to go to Kericho. My brother Geoffrey then lived in Kericho, so I can get ready to come to America. So I left, Auntie gave me money. I went to Kericho. I was in Kericho for a couple months. I lived there for a couple months with my brother Geoffrey. And when everything was finalized, I came to Nairobi For the first time, I boarded with my onions, my corn, whatever products I needed to take to my brother Makori's house. I left Kisii and arrived in Nairobi, and yes, my I-20 had arrived. Okay, so I was in Nairobi shortly to process with the help of my brother, my late brother's wife, the late Sarah Nyaboke, who I named my daughter. Simi is named after my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, who was such an amazing woman. They divorced with my brother when I was probably 13 years old, and she remained to be the most respectable, loving woman. She's the woman that took me through Nairobi for me to process to come to America. And that can bring tears to my eyes. But again, I have to stay strong so I can tell you this story. So Nyaboke took me around. But at the time I was young. And you know, now I was staying with my brother, my oldest brother. That's where I'm processing the I-20. I would come home and he'd ask me, oh, you think Nyaboke? He'll ask me, oh, I heard you were with Sarah. You know, that time I'm like a little 18 years old. I don't even know what he's saying. So me, I'm not even adding 1 and 2, 3 to even understand who told him I was with Nyaboke. Nyaboke was my savior. But apparently, back then, when you've divorced, you don't want your family associating with your ex-wife. But my family was not like that. My father loved the ex-sister-in-law. We all loved her. So my brother didn't like that, but he used to. But then one time I told him, I said, I don't know Nairobi. I don't know anybody. Nyaboke is the only one I know. Let her just help me. Yeah, no. I said, okay. So now we started striking a deal with my late sister-in-law. We would go, and then she has to hide somewhere. We have to walk, and we don't want people to know that we are together. Because when you meet these people, they know her, but they don't know me. So they will say hi to her. Then they'll ask, Oyoningo, like, who's this? Then she'll say, like, she was not supposed to even. So when she sees people, I have to act like I'm not with her. Imagine, this is a true story. The day I was going to the embassy to get the visa, she's the one who woke up early. She took me, because I don't know where I am. I'm living in Spring Valley. I don't know where the embassy, I don't know anything. This lady took me. She waited outside the embassy. I was denied the visa. Now she has to take me back to the University of Nairobi to tell my brother they have denied me the visa. Because they were saying that, oh, this program is too short, you can't go, whatever. It was a 2-year program. Huh? She walked me back to that office and hid somewhere in the corner. So I went into my brother and I told him, you know, they denied me the visa. And this is one thing I want to tell you about a name. I listened to a podcast from a guy from Nigeria that said that a name, when you make a name for yourself, or when somebody makes a name, when you hear Uhuru, when you hear Raila, when you hear Bush, when you hear Clinton, those are names. So the name Ongwenyi was a name. My father and my older brother created this name Ongwenyi, and Ongwenyi became a brand. And I'm proud to tell you I have a son that I named Ongwenyi, and I'll die peacefully knowing that this name was left with one child. I have a name that had a meaning. My brother made a phone call to Foreign Affairs in that minute and said, oh, Bwana so-and-so, my sister went to the embassy and they laughed. And then he said, tell her to come back. The name, Ongwenyi. Professor, oh, then now my sister-in-law again came from hiding. Then we walked. I don't even know where was Foreign Affairs. We went back to Foreign Affairs. He gave me a little money, though, to take to that guy. Buy him lunch. My brother gave me some money. Said, give it to him. I gave it to whoever it was, my God. Who was that man that saved my life to come to America so I can thrive? I could have not been here. But even in Kenya, I could have thrived. I'm not the person that was going to be defeated. No. I could have thrived and found a way to come here. I was very determined to come here. Nothing was going to stop me. My process became faster because of my brother. He speeded. He made everything fast. Foreign Affairs. Prrr. American Embassy. Prrr. Hello. Hi, so-and-so. How are you? Oh, Professor's daughter. Professor Ngwenyi's daughter came there. They didn't even say sister. Hey. The lyrics changed. Professor Ngwenyi's daughter came there for a visa this morning and she was denied. That person from there apologized. Oh, I could hear, oh, don't be sorry. It's okay. She's here. She can come back. That guy told me to go back to the embassy. My sister-in-law was outside. We went back to the embassy. We sat there. We dropped the papers, and they told us we have to come back for the visa. She took me that same day. My God, this is my sister-in-law. She told me, now, you know, your ticket is ready. We don't want you to rush. Get ready now. If the visa is being prepared, now get ready so you know your ticket can come anytime. She told me, now when you go to America, you need to braid. I had never put braids in my hair, ever, my whole life. I had money. She took me to a hair salon. I got cornrows, which was the worst thing ever in my whole life. It was so painful. And you know, at the time, I didn't even know I was a sensitive person. But she told me, oh yeah, because her 2 girls were already here. She said, oh, when Jackie and Carol went to America, you know, we had to do their braids. But you know, Jackie and Carol had grown up in Nairobi, so braids had never been braided. They put cornrows. I could barely sleep. And I'm going to climb a plane. I've never been in an aeroplane. And I have all these tight braids. I can't even. Another bad thing happened to me. So as I was getting ready to leave, they've sent a message for my mom to come. My mom came. My cousin was supposed to take me to the airport. As I was getting ready to leave, a day, I think 2, my brother raided my room. And he told me, before I go to America, he needs to inspect everything I'm carrying. Jesus Christ. Then, you know, I had my photos. I had a few letters. There were some letters that I had for a certain boy that had kissed me. That boy, you know. That boy was my boy. Right? I wanted to keep this boy's letters, you know, because that one had kissed him. I carried them. Because me, I wanted to, you know, I used to read and then my heart will feel paragacha, paragacha. That boy, hey. And he had bought me flowers. That boy, he was in some high school there. Do you know my brother took those letters? Aki. When I remember, my heart just sinks. I wish I could read those letters again. You know, they used to warm my heart. And you know, that boy, kissed me. I felt dizzy. I would just feel, hey. He took those letters. He only left me with the photos. So I still have my album. Thank God he left me with my album. But he took a few things that I really valued. You know, he left me. I had my handkerchiefs. I'm a keeper. There are things that I just can't just throw. Anyway. So, the night he did that, I left. Just to feel you. I'm a runner. I left. I was so offended. I was so upset. Again, I packed that bag, whatever he had left, and I left that bag there. And I said, now I knew the day for travel. I knew the day I was flying out. He had the ticket. He had the travel information. But I knew I'm leaving a certain date. And you know, I was in pajamas when he raided my room. My brother. He was drunk. And that's why I just don't like alcohol. I was in a pajama. I was so upset. He was chasing me around. He wanted to beat me up. And I'd never been beaten. I didn't know what being beaten means. Because my father didn't beat me. I didn't plan to tell you guys these stories, but I want to talk about them anyway. So, you know, he took the key. So I told his wife, give me the key, I can leave. I had other places to go. I'll come back when it's a day to travel. Because my father didn't drink. I'd never seen a drunk relative. It's the first time I'm seeing a drunk relative. I knew alcohol was for poor people in the village. I didn't know functional people like professors, like big people could drink. Because I'd never seen my brother drunk. I was so shocked. She refused. Oh, she said, oh, if I give you the key, he's going to beat me. Eh? Higher. You know what I did? I climbed the fence and I jumped over. I've always been very fit. I climbed the fence in a night dress. I walked from Spring Valley, a distance that I'm curious to know how far that was. I walked from Spring Valley to close to Westlands, I think here, Spring Valley to Westlands. Like a long distance. I walked for over an hour in the dark. I got into a matatu and I told the people I don't have money. You know where I was going? I was going to my friend, late friend, Abu Abraham Murahori, who his mother was my teacher, my class 1 teacher. He was in campus then. I knew where campus was and I knew I could go to his dorm. So I took that matatu and I went to Abu's dorm. And I stayed there. Abu gave me his clothes, gave me jeans, gave me a t-shirt. I stayed there for 2 days before I showed up at my brother's place, like around 5, time for almost departure. And I'm looking like, whatever, don't even say a thing. I've always been not a good person like that. I don't take abuse lightly. I showed up in Abu's clothes and my mom was acting like she's about to faint or whatever. I looked at her like, this is not flying. There's nobody trying to put his hands on me for nothing. I changed. And my cousin came and we headed to the airport. And America, here I came. I hope you've enjoyed my story. This story, I had to let it out like this. I'm always minding my business. Happy Friday. I love my stories. My stories are just, even to me, I just enjoy my stories. Let me tell you. And I enjoy my stories because I know where I've come from. I've not even started to tell you the stories now that I arrived in America. I found other brothers who drank. I'd never seen drunk brothers. That's another story for another day. Yeah? So life is what you make it. Everybody is going through challenges. There is nobody who has it easy. Everybody is working hard to make it. Everybody wants to smile. Happiness is not something you can buy. Happiness comes from good human relationships. Yeah? Joyce, how are you? Good relationships will give you a good laugh. I have friends we just laugh. Like, just laugh. Even, you see, even me, I'm laughing on my own. I'm telling you, any day I'm driving and I remember the way I showed up in my Abu's clothes, in men clothes, and then I'm looking, and then my mom was saying, hey, you know, in AKC sounds crazy. Saitani. She was telling me, are you Saitani? I'm like, who are you talking to? I'm like, I am going to America. Girl, you're keeping it. I'm heading out. She's calling me Saitani. I'm like, then me, I'm like, who are you calling Satan? I gave her those eyes like, whatever. In America, you'd be like, whatever, girl, please. I'm headed out. I'm out. That's your polygamy arrangements. Never. It's not going to face me. Nothing. My mom has always thought I'm off. But I've been off. And I'm always off. Because you know what? If you grow up in a polygamous family, you will know what injustice is. Injustice is what wakes me up. Living in an injustice family is what wakes me up. To work hard. To have something for me. Watching from Korwa Kebirigo. Kebirigo. Kebirigo, that is huko kwetu karibu. Is it close to Nyamira? Injustice is what pushes me. Injustice is what makes me eat as much. Today I'm going to a Greek restaurant to try their Greek food. Injustice, growing up with unfairness. It was not intentional. I don't think my father really intended to do that. But it was the most painful life. When all your other sisters have sandal shoes. When all your the other sisters are wearing chiffon, you don't have. These children used to have nice things all the time because their mother bought it for them. But my mom was in serious depression. She didn't even care what was the latest. And as you know, I like a good life. I wanted the best for me, but guess what? It wasn't being offered. And you know, as life will have it, I ended up caring for my father because a few months later, once I entered America, I realized that my father was not a bad person. He was doing things out of circumstances. Caroline, how are you? That is what it was. And I forgave my father. And once I forgave my father, I started taking care of my father. I still sent him my report cards from school. I still wrote him letters and on my progress. And now I am living through him, because everything I do, he is the foundation. He's the one who gave me this wisdom. He's the one who set me up to succeed. Forgive your parents for the injustices they did to you, because you know what? They gave you the best they know how. It's like me buying my kids a pair of sneakers a year and they think that is something horrible. A pair of sneakers every semester, that's great. But to them, they need more. To us, we needed more. We needed chapati. We needed to eat mandazi. We needed to eat chicken. We needed to eat fish like the other kids. Why were they eating all that while we were just here eating like boiled skooma and horrible food? I call it horrible because it was not good food. I'm sorry. But now I'm back to that food. It was the healthy food. Now I know that, but at the time I didn't know that. So, it is the injustice that will wake you up at 3 in the morning. It is the unfairness that will make you to want more. It's the bullying on that group, on my Kissy group, that gave birth to this page. It is the challenges that my children give me that make me a better person. It is the suffering that we go through so we can be better people. In your suffering, don't give up. In your suffering, find a way to find something good out of that situation. Because there is no human being who's going by without suffering. Each one of us is suffering, going through something. If you think there are people who have it easy, there are no human beings who have it easy. Somebody is dying as we speak. Somebody is about to be killed as we speak. Somebody is about to be shot as we speak. And finally, let me tell you a story, a sad story. I met a lady 2 days ago. A couple years back, her son was killed by a stray bullet. People were fighting. They were somewhere. She had pulled in a place to talk to her son, and her son was bent over at the driver's side to talk to her mom. And a bullet came through the son and came through the thigh of the mother. That bullet went through his heart. He was 19 years old. He died. Okay? But she survived the bullet. He wasn't in the gang. He wasn't doing anything. She just happened to be in a place, which is Newark, New Jersey, Camden, New Jersey, places like that where gun violence is like a thing. A bullet went through. Then she had a daughter left. So the lady that was telling me the story, that's her sister. So my first question was, did she move? Before I could even go to the next question, I said, did she move after the shooting? No, she did not move. Because I'm thinking naturally, I'm in a neighborhood and I'm having that has happened. I'm thinking I would move because I'm a mover, I'm a runner. I ran away. I thought to tell you that story because I always want to remove myself from things that I don't like. And it's a gift, and I thank God that I like to always disconnect with abuse. I remove. I know how. I've mastered the skill. She said no. Then I said, how is she doing? Oh no, she just lost her other child to a drug overdose. She stayed in the same house, stayed in the same neighborhood, and the daughter got into pills. Pills, there is no proper place where children, that's another topic I want to talk about. There is nowhere where children are not going to take drugs. There is nowhere where children are not going to take alcohol. But she lost her second daughter at 25. She only had 2 children. She's in her 50s now. She can't have more children. You think tell me, a mother like this, when you meet such a person, or anybody that is watching me right now, when I meet you and you've lost your child, you've lost your husband, you lost your wife, you've lost a person that was so valuable to you, what am I supposed to say to you? Sometimes there's nothing to say to these people. Sometimes what we can do is to build communities that can allow people to come in the space where they can freely talk about their children, because all they're left with is 19 years of that boy, 25 years of that girl. There's nothing you can say to this person. There's nothing you can say to someone who has lost a father, a mother. Sometimes, although I've lost a dad, but the biggest thing I can do is to sit, to create an environment, or to build communities where people can come and sit and talk. That's a gift you can give people, even on social media. If a post is put up there, sometimes people just want to vent. All they can tell you is how it happened. When somebody is telling you, create interest, listen to them. Because what can I tell this lady? What can you tell this lady? You sit and listen. The greatest gift you can give people is to give a listening ear. And that's why, for me, I created this day for me since 2012. I don't even need to listen to other people as much. I like to listen to me. Every Friday, with intention, I listen to me with very much awareness. And you know, I just put you through a story from my childhood. If you listened through, if you stayed since I started, because I was listening to myself. Because when I'm listening to myself, where I've come from, I can clearly tell you where I've come from. If my great-grandchildren watch this video, which is in English, they will know where I came from. Because you know what? I'm taking time to listen to me. I'm listening to me. I'm slowing down everything I'm doing. I'm playing my music. I'm just listening to myself. If I can listen to myself, I'll have the ability to listen to you, Joyce. Joyce, if you pick the phone now and you call me today on a Friday, I will listen to you. But don't call me during the week. During the week, I don't want to talk. Sometimes I just don't want to talk. I never used to just be a phone person. Lately, I'm trying. But sometimes my mind is busy. I don't want to talk. I create a day that I can talk to you, because talking to people sometimes could be meaning you are carrying so much. Because now when I spoke to this lady, I have that story, and it created a little weight on my heart to know that you've lost your only 2 children that you had. So when you're talking too much, when you're bringing too much into your space during the week when you're supposed to be productive, you can miss out. Be intentional where you know on Friday I'm going to call Joyce. On Sunday after church, I can go have lunch with Joyce. All we need to give people for people to thrive is listening ears. Listen. You have to listen. Or create time just to visit for nothing. Visit. Call them. And yesterday, when they were talking about communities, how people don't have communities. Unfortunately, I'm the kind of person, if you want to come to me, you need to call me. Because I live on schedule. I have things I have to do. Call me. Don't just show up here. Because if you show up here, you're just going to cause me more stress and anxiety. I want people to just let me know that on Friday, on such and such a day, Penny, can we meet? Like today I'm meeting. I'm going to meet friends at 4 p.m. I need to know that. Some people are like that. Don't just show up into people's houses and now you disrupt them because you're in the name of visiting them. No, that is disruptive. People have things that they have planned to do so they can provide for their families, so they can, get things done. If somebody just shows up right now after I finish this video, I'm in the middle of this video, I'm going to tell them to sit there. Wait for me to finish the video. And by the way, this video is not as productive as it's supposed to be because I'm in the house with the kids. That's why I talk from the car. Because some things I'd rather just talk them out there. Because my kids are not my target audience. They are not the ones I'm talking to. They know these stories. So now if you show up here in my space, I have managu here, I have the chicken here, you're going to disrupt me. Don't just show up in people's houses, even if you're in Kenya. Call the person, text the person, ask them, is it okay? And even when you call me, if you're my friend, always ask me if it's a good time to talk. Not every time you call someone is a good time to talk. Sometimes you're calling people when they don't want to talk. Ask, hey, Vicky, how are you? Is it a good time? Are you able to talk at this time? Then they'll tell you yes or no. Just be mindful. create self-awareness. And if you're self-aware, you'll be more sensitive. You'll be more nicer to people. Be gentle on social media. Be gentle out of social media. Don't do things that are going to bring you shame and guilt after you've done them. Because you look back and ask yourself, why did I do that? Enjoy your Friday. May the Lord God help you so you can be in a good space where you have self-care, where you love yourself, where you prioritize yourself. That way, you can listen and learn from other people. See what other people are doing and learn. Instead of getting jealous, get into their space and know what they are doing that is working. Because you might even do it better. So that way, you can live a life with purpose, where you have growth, where you have results, where you have success, and where you're feeling good on the inside. And I didn't mention, it is in Eronge Primary Boarding School that I learned how to be good on the inside, not on the outside. It is in that school that I learned how you feel on the inside is more important than this hater, is more important than outside what I'm dressed in. I can wear anything as long as I'm dressed well on the inside. The outside does not matter. And you know, I always tell my friend, now, people are paying money to get a buttocks. When we were growing up, a buttocks was to sit. We needed a buttocks to sit. Now, women are purchasing a buttocks to look good. I don't know is for them or is for another person. It doesn't even matter. I met a lady 2 weeks ago that paid $10,000 to remove the fat from here and put it on the buttocks. And she was very happy. She was with a boyfriend. And she said, yeah, now my boyfriend has an ass he can touch. Okay, so these are the days we are living. When we grew up, a buttocks was a place, a thing, makalio, you need to sit. Not for people to look. I tell my friend, I didn't know I had an ass. That's what they say. I didn't know I was physically attractive. I didn't know all these things. Even makeup, I started wearing makeup when I turned 40. I've never been aware of my physical, my flat tummy, my butt, all those things. Because in Eronge Primary School, what those teachers told us, it's not your physical outside. No matter how many clothes you buy, no matter how much eyelashes you put, no matter how much lip gloss you put, no matter how much foundation you put, no matter how much expensive your top is costing. Some people are wearing tops that cost $100, somewhere wearing shoes worth $400. It doesn't matter how much you pay for an item, the clothes that you cover yourself. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. It doesn't matter what kind of house you're in. Material things will never give you the true happiness that you need. You go back to the foundation of the Word of God, where it says it is how you feel on the inside, how God created you. When you come into terms, how God's first intention was not for you to keep putting these eyelashes that are making you cry. Was not for you to take $10,000, remove this fat, put it here. Yes, you can enhance yourself. But don't spend so much time and money to buy material things so you can feel good. Because the feeling good is not on the outside. The feeling good is on the inside. And you know, now, I go back in my pictures, then I'm like, hey, really, I had it. Hey. And me, I was just thinking that, you know, what was important was for me to be self-sufficient. That was what my parents were telling me, to succeed so you can just take care of yourself. I didn't know that the looks were part of the package. But I learned again in that same school to eat well, to choose what you say, to choose what you wear, to choose the friends you associate with. That primary boarding school, that's where the foundation is. So if you never had that opportunity like me, keep following me. Because you're going to learn things that I'm still learning. You never outgrow learning. The book. It's not because I didn't know how to budget, but I bought that book for $5. Somebody can tell you something you've never heard, and then you're like, wow, I like what they're saying. I learned things from here. The next chapter here is going to talk about marriage, getting married. This book that we are going to do next month, it gives you questions to ask. Even if I just open one page, it gives you how many questions? 500 questions to ask yourself. Okay? 293, a random question. What's the last debate you had with someone? When was the last time you had a debate with someone? How did that debate go? Where you're discussing, you're giving your opinion, they're giving their opinion, you're staying respectful, you're throwing in your point. It's better to be a farmer than to be a teacher, or it's better to be a teacher than a farmer. When did you have your last debate? Yes, Carol learns a lot from listening to me. Very good, Carol. Because me, I got a foundation from my father. When was the last time you had a debate, and how did the debate go? And then even in here, as I was reading through the question, they are also asking a question I had for you. If you had one person that you wanted to sit and have lunch with, who could be that person? Who are you interested in meeting? That one person you want to meet. For me, there's a writer in Nigeria called Ngozi, Chimamanda Ngozi. I love that woman. I wish I can be like her. I'm aspiring. One day I can be like her. She's a writer. She speaks very well. And I like Patrick Lumumba. I listen to Patrick Lumumba and I feel so refreshed. I'd like to be like Patrick Lumumba. The thinking is, oh wow, who is that one person? And finally, if you had an hour, if I give you 1 hour in your day, a free 1 hour, just 1 hour, 60 minutes. What are you going to do? Ask yourself. Purity, you learn from me. Very good. If you're learning, very good. Ask yourself, trouble yourself with those questions. What are you going to do if you get an extra hour out of your busy schedule? Because I've given you guys a whole hour. Share this video. Thank you so much. I'm coming to you live from West Hampton, New Jersey. And I'm going to show you a few videos. I'll do a few videos from the Greek restaurant. I don't know what they serve there. But when I looked on the menu online, I saw lobster. I might eat lobster, but I want their traditional food. I've learned a lot. Oh, Caroline has learned a lot from me. That's nice. Even me, I'm learning from other people. So I listen, then I bring it to you. And you now, you go and practice. And you now, you go talk to somebody. You have to learn from other people. There is nobody who knows it all. Cheers and God bless you. Have a lovely weekend. Love you guys. And thanks for your support.